Hello, hello. Just doing my usual announcements. Oh, we have two LSs. Hi, Chummy. Thank you, thank you. I'm still setting up right now. Give me 1 second. I have a couple things to do before we get started. Hi, Eden. Welcome in. All right. LS, I'm gonna give you mod over on YouTube as well, but will you do me a favor and in the bootcamp Discord and in the SIL team Discord, will you just post that I'm live? And then in the SIL team Discord, you can tag everyone. Uh, I feel like I need to just like I don't know, maybe I'll set up a bot to do that because I'm doing that like all the beginning of stream. That you're lied. I am lied. Thank you, Ellis. Eden, how are you? I'm so excited that you're joining us today. All right. Think I have all the bases covered. Okay, I gotta go to YouTube here real quick. Lots of things to do this morning. Hello there. How is everyone doing? Never got to catch your streams live because of time zones. Oh, I'm so glad you could make it. I've been streaming a lot earlier in the day. Ellis, I don't actually know how to get to like, hang on a minute, to the live view. Wait, I think I found it. Did I find it? I think I found it. To the live view. Oh, that's my voice. All right, hang on. Uh, add as moderator. Got him. All right, LS, I got you on both. Got you on Twitch and on YouTube now. Awesome. Bingo. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I've been back to streaming for about a week now, and um, I've still been like getting everything set up, making sure it's all functioning correctly, but I think we're getting there. I've added I know that the ads were like insanely obnoxious, so I've added a bot to let us know when ads run. I have it set so that an ad runs every hour, but it'll be nice to have the bot to just let us know. Um, don't know what that's going to look like when it does run, but I guess we will see. It's all a learning experience. So I'm going to be working on some abstract stuff today. This was from last stream, and I'm going to finish up the colors. And I don't know, I'm probably going to draw on it a little bit more. And then I wanted to show some of my other abstract work. Hi, Kitsuki. Yeah, the cam's back. Where would you like me to post notif in the mentor Discord? The mentor, well, I haven't been posting in the mentor Discord, just the boot camp and the SIL team. I guess that you could post in the announcements in the mentor Discord. Announcement is it a news channel or announcements? I can't remember which one it is. Wherever I post my updates, you can post in there. Kitsuki, how you doing today? All right, dashboard. Don't have access to the live channel, SIL team. Oh, what the heck? Uh, Why? What do you mean? Hold on, I'll give you access. Edit channel. Permissions. Weird. Oh, you don't. Okay. All right, I tossed admin role on there and let me know if you still can't do things. Cool. All right. Oh, still can't access it? Why? Why? Okay, we have our ad running now, so hang tight, you guys. Oh, oh, what? So I think the moderation thing just like bleeped out the link under Sari bot. We'll have to figure that out. Unfortunate. I'm all right. Thanks for asking. Behind my schedule, so I try to catch up. How about you? Not doing too bad. A little bit of a busy morning, getting a lot of little things out of the way, but it's good. These things need to get done. Okay, let me try again with this. So I'm just gonna. Elvin, do you have an admin role? Let me make sure that that's what you have in the SIL team Discord, because that's what I set it as. Okay, you do have admin. Okay. Boo, boo, boo. All right. We're going to try that. Let me know if you can access it now. All right, cool. All right. Thank you guys for being patient. I had to iron out some of that stuff. Uh, yeah. So we got down. Oh no. Okay. I'm going to get started soon, I swear. Okay. Stream manager. Cool. All right. We in this. We in here. Okay, cool. So I think we're pretty much set up. Let me grab some brushes because I realized I forgot those. Discord be like, you want to add everyone? I'm sure, bro. I'm sure. You guys see Luna back here? She's a little cuddly bug right now. She's taking up half the chair, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Okay. How are y'all doing today? Kitty. Yeah, this is Luna. You might see the other ones wandering around because I've finally opened up the office for them to come in. Probably not the best idea. They're probably going to wreak havoc, but it is what it is. We're going to let it be. All right. So at some point, probably a little bit later, I'm going to be showing off some of the. I'm going to show you guys some of the other abstract work that I've been doing basically for the past 2 months without showing anybody. But I'm really excited about this stuff, so I want to share it. And then, just as a reminder, we have the Dayanora giveaway. So the figurine. Hold on, I got to grab that too. So we are giving away an unpainted version of Dayanora. So any of you miniature painters out there or creatives who want to take a stab at creating your own version, we are giving away one of these over the next couple weeks. So if you want to join, it's subscriber only. But if you're a subscriber, you can type !demon in chat and you can get yourself a ticket for that. I'm going to put her off to the side because, yeah, I have a lot of things on my desk at the moment. Oh, there. She is. She's peeking in there. I launched it today, but I also have a tip goal. So if you guys want to unlock a giveaway for some art prints, some prints just like these babies, the goal is $33. I don't know, it's just a random number. So if you guys tip and we reach that goal, I will also host a giveaway for the art prints. And then finally, and I'm probably going to be mentioning this stuff a million times, but I did finish the interactive stream series. So these I will be giving away in the Discord. So if you guys want a chance to get the set of the abstract stuff that we did on stream, someone in the Discord will win it. I haven't posted about it yet, but be in there for when I do. You guys are going to get these. I'm excited about finishing these. Actually, hold on, let me share them. So this was our like egg yolk one that kind of turned into almost like, I don't know, it feels like very Halloween autumn-esque. I don't know. And then of course we have Dr. Chicken with his sidekick Agathy. And then we've got this one here. This one is like, I don't even know what to call it. It's intense, very intense. And then we have this one here, which I'm lovingly calling Shrek because we have our little goofy little Shrek ears. This one reminds me of Shrek. So these I will be giving away in the Discord. It'll be available to everyone who's in the Discord, so feel free to pop in whether you're a subscriber or not. The Discord is open to everybody. All right, announcements out of the way. And I'll talk more about them. And if you guys have any questions about any of the giveaways or any of the event stuff going on, just let me know. But for now, we paint. Oh, I've been waiting for this all morning. I've been so busy this morning. It's been insane. I think I mentioned it last stream, but Nexi and I are doing monk mode, which is basically just like a sprint of a bunch of like basically goals for work. And I always get like really focused when we do this. So I'm playing like catch up on a lot of projects that need to get done. Prepping for the next boot camp launch, which I'm so freaking excited for. Everything is ready. I just need to launch like the sales page and stuff. So it's coming. Couple like logistical things to plan out as well, but it's on the way. This one will be specifically for painting portraits. My last one was about drawing portraits, and the curriculum for that is still available. But this one will be specifically painting portraits, and I still want to build it with people in mind who don't have a ton of time for learning art, but how to make the most out of the time we do spend. So I'm really excited about that. I think it's going to be a really good lesson, and I'm excited to be part of it. It's always really fun for me to host it, but I run through it with you guys. So in teaching it, I also am working on painting portraits right alongside all of you. So it'll be fun. And I've got a wait list for that too. If you check out my website, there's information on the boot camps, and there are wait lists for announcing all that stuff. Basically, I have a lot going on. I'm still talking to Karst about the notebooks, but I feel like I'm gonna need to talk to someone else about a potential coloring book. I don't know what I'm gonna do there yet. But I'm like, this coloring book idea is really speaking to me, and it won't leave my mind. Why does this paint smell fruity? Am I having a stroke? No, it would be burnt in that case. What are y'all working on today? Not much considering it's 6 a.m. here. Rocket, my god. Go to sleep. Why you awake? I'm just kidding. I was awake at 6 too. It's just not 6 here now. Maybe the paint's actually fruit. A taste test just to be sure. You're right. That's a great idea. I couldn't think of a better idea. Awake since 3? My god. Willingly? I mean, it sounds like not because you're saying it sucks, but dang. That's really early. Oh, you're painting digitally, Cece. Love it. My main medium is digital, but the abstract work has been something that's gotten me out of an insane art block, and so I do this as much as I can. I absolutely love the abstract work. Something about like physically painting though, oh, oh so good. What kind of subject you working on, Cece? It's like writing reflections, forces a different part of your brain to process things you're doing. Yeah, it definitely feels different. And I think one of the main things is just like, I have to slow down to do this. Um, and like, there's an element of it where, sure, it might feel kind of mindless, but at the same time, it also feels very thoughtful because I'm thinking about the brush. I'm thinking about where I'm placing the paint. Like I'm still doing a lot of thinking. It's also kind of meditative thinking where it's like processing, the day's work and like what I have to do and what I did yesterday, like things like that. I guess the word that comes to mind is it feels very necessary.
Lemon.
Hi, Yosef. Hi, Yoshi. How you doing? Do 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 do. Cece, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Painting the most purple wedding dress I've ever seen in my life. Have you heard of heavy paint? I'm giving that a go. I haven't. What is heavy paint? Oh, I went to the museum yesterday. Oh my god, absolutely so inspiring. We It was so funny because we only spent. It's not a big museum, but we only spent like an hour there, and I felt like it was like a 5 hour trip, and like in a good way. And then when we left, I was just in the absolute best mood, like so happy, so relaxed. It was really nice. It'd been a while since we'd been to a museum. Digital painting software, quite limiting, trying to use that to my advantage. Ooh, interesting. I've never heard of it. Is it free or is it paid? Chat, have you guys heard of heavy paint? I've never heard of it before. Free and works in browser. Oh, dang. That's nice. So the limitations, is that because you get like, are you trying to kind of like work on one layer and not get distracted by all the possible tools, like, in Photoshop and stuff like that, or is it something else? Yoshi, how you doing? Oh, getting to work. I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. Feeling good. Oh, sorry, my glasses head butted the microphone. I went out and bought new like brushes, these tiny little brushes, because I wanted to do some detail work, and I have not stopped just using this same brush. Like the more I get control of the brush, the more I'm like, I don't really need those little brushes. I guess maybe I would depending on like how small the piece is, but I'm kind of loving this one. Synthetics? I think so. I don't actually know how to tell. I just bought some random brushes I found at the art store. This one is old though. It doesn't even have branding on it. It just says China. That's all it says. And I have no idea where I got it. I wonder if this one came with like one of my old art sets. Um, I don't know though. Can't remember. I've had a lot of this stuff just for years. At the point where I just need to get a cheapo bulk pack of 100 synthetic zeros, double zeros. There are lots of art supplies that I still want to get. That's what the giveaways for the tip goal for the giveaways for is like I will give away some goodies and earn some money for the art supplies over time. Speaking of, if you guys want to give away that tip goal, $33 and we'll unlock a giveaway for chat. And if you want a tip, all you have to do is type !tip in chat, or you can check the panels. There's a link down there. Really nice sable brush one day, yeah. Speaking of giveaways, will you paint an unpainted Dayanor mini yourself? Rocket, that's a really good question. I feel like the answer to that is going to be yes. The problem is I don't have all the paints to do that. I only have like a few colors. I need like the basic red, blue, and yellow because I don't have those. I just have like these weird ass colors. But I would love to do that, and I would love to do that on stream. It would. I have no idea how it would turn out, but I think it would be a really fun, like, I don't know, just experience to do that with you guys. Like I said, I have like zero tools to do it, but whatever. Get the $30 Liquitex acrylic wash basic colors art set. Ooh, okay, all right, I could do that. Hi Ryan, how are you? I don't know. What you doing, baby? The figure that Rocket's talking about is this one here. So Dayanora, currently she's open for pre-order, but I am also giving away an unpainted version of her to our Twitch subscribers. And so obviously this is the fully painted version, which you can also get as part of the pre-order. But I'll be giving away the unpainted one to someone in chat. But I'm going to run the giveaway for a couple weeks while the pre-order is active. So if you guys want to get in on that, all you got to do is sub and then type !demon. Mixed colors given the primary pigments and titanium white. Yeah, that's what I need is just the primary colors. Just spin a color wheel and paint different parts based on where it lands. That would be super fun. Dayanora would be rainbow. Feel like painting a mini? You should, Rocket. Oh, I painted out the lines. uh, I fixed it. It's still creative, for sure. What are you doing? Gizma? Gizma? No, we don't chew on cords. Let's not do that. I think she's pissed off because uh, Luna's in her spot. Usually she's the one back here in the chair, but Luna is like, she's taken over. They had a little fight about it this morning. Yizma? Hey, Luna, I would really would love the rest of the chair back though. If stream goes down, we know what happened. Yeah, it was Yizma. All right, hang on. Luna, how about this? How about you lay? I know. How about you lay right there? Okay, 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 maybe not. I really need the chair back. I was sitting on the edge and I was like, why are my knees aching? I had to like hold myself up. Okay. I like to sit cross-legged on the chair and I need more space. Kitties. Oh my goodness. It's like having children, but furrier. Gav is so like all the time. I'll sacrifice anything for the cats. And you know, at the start I'm like this is fine. I can deal with this. It won't be that uncomfortable. And then like an hour in and I'm like why does everything hurt? And yeah, that's why. Hi Akila, how you doing? I don't have cats, but I still ask why does everything hurt? True. Because the seed mom will pay attention to us. You know, Yoshi, yeah, I think that's like 90% of what it is. I think most of the time they're just doing things for attention. LS, I don't know if you know this or not, if you know the answer to this. Does Cassie still stream? Does anyone know if Cassie Draws still streams? I know she was doing YouTube, but I was really curious. I was thinking of her. I have one of, oh, I have many of Cassie's artworks, but there's one in particular of this snow leopard that she did that every time I see it, I'm always wondering, how is she doing? I wonder if she's doing well. Hi, Genesis. How are you? Good to see you again. Time to work, so I'll head out, enjoy the rest of the stream. Bye, Yoshi. Hope you have a good day. All right, let's think. We need pink there. I don't know. I guess I could leave some like white spots. I'm also gonna draw on it more, so maybe I will leave some. Yeah, I'll do that. I need to get a tad more pink because I noticed that there's like I'm not sure what caused some of that smearing there, but I want to fix that. Let me clean this brush. Hang on. Like having in this the background while drawing. Had a dream about abstract art. Did you tell me more? Really glad to catch a stream for the first time in a long time. I have a framed quote you sent me years ago that has got me through more than a few rough moments, even to this day. Oh, Gav. Well, I'm so glad that you could make it. I'm officially back to streaming, so it was a little while of me figuring stuff out. I had a lot of like art things I needed to navigate, but also I think a lot of it kind of bled into stream as well. So I'm really happy to be back, but I'm also happy to have worked through a lot of that stuff. I'm really happy to hear that that's kept you going. That really means a lot. It's nice to see you, and it's not 3 a.m. for me. Yeah. It's normal human times. All right, I am gonna let this dry. Fixed up the pink, finished adding the black. I'm gonna let this dry, and then I'm gonna do more drawing on this. I'm kind of like looking at this on the screen here. I'm kind of loving where it's at. I think it's gonna be even more fun when I do more drawing on it. But while it dries, what I want to share with you guys is some of the abstract art from the very beginning. I guess like starting this abstract journey, I didn't know where it was gonna go, but there's a lot of pieces that I really fell in love with through that journey. So those of you that don't know, the abstract work has been a a force. It's really helped me through my current art block. And I would say I'm like 95% of the way through it. Maybe even closer to 100. Um, but I filled so many sketchbooks worth of abstract stuff. I made so many independent pieces from the sketchbook as well, and I just really enjoyed the journey. I think this was like one of the first ones I did. Hang on a second. I have so many sketchbooks. Let's see. Oh, Genesis is telling me about their dream. Was it a gallery or museum all about abstract art? Then I go into a dark room with this blue moving wave of color. Then the light came back on. I turned to the left, and there's a guy standing. I'm so interested in this. Oh, wait. You guys can see I have some dried flowers in this one that are probably going to fall out, but that's okay. Um, this was the very first piece I did when I was like, I told myself I just needed to draw something. I just need to put something on paper. And this was the first thing I did. Like, I don't even know what this was, and I was like, through the process of it, I was so frustrated with it. I was like, what is this? What am I doing with this? And I just kind of like let it flow. But this was what started all of it. Yeah. Yuzma, Yuzma, you cannot go on the painting. No, no. Come on. Come on. You can be here, but you have to sit. Genesis. Do you do abstract art? No, but I'm ripped. Favorite element about abstract art? What keeps you returning? The lack of rules appeals to me. Gav, I think that's a big part of it for me. When I started doing this, like I said, I was really stuck with the rest of my art. And I was fighting this voice in my head that was telling me like my work had to be a particular way, it had to be a certain quality, and it was making it really hard to show up. Um, and in doing the abstract work, I really discovered that there was a lot of other reasons that I was struggling. And so yeah, that started this whole journey, and I'll kind of go through some of this. That started this whole journey. And so every day my goal was I don't know what I'm going to draw, but I'm going to draw something. This one was weird cuz it kind of looks like a brain with a pathway. Um in hindsight, seeing this after the fact makes me think that this is what the abstract art was telling me to do. It was like a path into my brain. And it's so crazy because at the time I was just like, huh, this is weird. And I just did it. Yeah. And so like weird stuff came out of it. And this is the very first sketchbook that I did. So like weird stuff came out of it. This one in particular felt familiar. It almost felt like I'd done it before. Um and the funny thing was after I did this one, I was like, "Wait a minute. I've drawn this before." But when I went back to look at all of my other like notes and random sketchbooks, I couldn't find it. So it was really odd because it had this familiarity that I I didn't know where it came from. This was another one I did. this was when I first started to realize that a lot of the abstract stuff started to have like animal elements in it. Um, and again, like I never went in with an intention. It was always just like, here's something. Another theme that seems to come up a lot is these spheres. I don't know what it is about these spheres, but they come up all the time in the work, and you'll see more of that. And I have a lot of this stuff too, was just some of the pieces that I really liked through this process. So some of these came out of the sketchbook. I'll show you some in the sketchbook, but a lot of the sketchbook stuff is really experimental. Yeah, so again, these were the early days. You can see like I'm really experimenting with my lines. The spheres show up again, more spheres. And at this time, I don't know if you guys can like if you can tell or not, but I was really lacking the confidence in it, but I think the energy of the emotions and the challenges and the thoughts that came up while I was drawing it is pretty present in this stuff. Like I see it and I like feel the tension in it. And again, my whole goal, so I had four rules, and I'm like I said, I'm building a resource for this to help other people get out of their blocks, but my four rules for these sketchbooks was I wasn't allowed to share it with anyone, at least at the time. Wasn't allowed to make any money on it. I wasn't allowed to watch, listen, or read or do anything while I did it. Had to be very present. And then the last one was, oh, it had to be traditional. So no digital work for this stuff. Um, which doing the digital at the time, I was really fighting it anyway. So those were my four rules, and they helped significantly. Um, I didn't know that they would help at the time, but for some reason, my intuition was like, these are the things that you need to focus on. And so yeah, very early days. Again, the spheres are showing up. And I think also this was an early one. I want to say this was like also one of the first ones I did, but this one felt like it had something to it. And so I kept this one in mind as I move forward with some of the pieces. I ended up taking it out because I really wanted to um I really wanted to like hang on to the ones that really excited me. And so I separated them from the sketchbook. But it took me a long time to do this because took me a long time to actually take it out of the sketchbook because, again, I didn't want to show anybody, and taking it out of the sketchbook kind of felt like this sacrilege, right? Like it was going against the rules that I had set for it. So later, it took me a while to take this out. Later on, I took it out. Um,
Lemon.
yeah. So I'm gonna put these over here. There's like a tiny, tiny droplets of water, so I'm making sure like it doesn't get on any of them. So, I
Lemon.
keep going through it. I'm trying to kind of keep some of these in order. But yeah, so the orchid energy you mentioned there, Angelo, I feel like this floral pattern, it came up a lot. And again, the spheres. I don't know. There's something about the spheres that really spoke to me, and it kept coming up in a lot of these pieces. So that was another one early on. And I did a lot of these like while I was in coffee shops, and like I spent a lot of time at the coffee shop making work. Some other really early ones, and like there's a part of me that when I first did these, hold on, I have a couple that are like this. So to me, this felt like it was some kind of bird, like a cardinal or something. And it came up multiple times. This is where like things get kind of creepy to me in the sense that like I'm not thinking when I do these, and this bird came up more than once. So these were some more really early ones, and when I worked on these, I feel like I had made a lot of I had a lot of realizations, a lot of epiphanies. So these two, even though like in terms of what I would have previously been like, here's my skillful art, right? Like it's two different worlds. Um, there was something about these that really spoke to me, even though they were nowhere near my usual style. They didn't really convey like who I was as an artist, but they conveyed something really deep within me. So these ones really resonated with me. Luna, oh God, we have a cat. Okay, she moved on. We're okay. So, yeah, can you grab her? This might be time to lock kitties out. So this was another one. I feel like I was in New York City when I did this one. These were very emotional. Like they really just came out of the pen. I was very frustrated this time because as I was starting to navigate the art block, it felt like things were getting worse. Like I was angrier and I was more frustrated and I was very much in this headspace of like why am I dealing with this? Why do I have to deal with this? So a lot of like very emotional, very um anger fueled pieces came from this. And I again, I feel the energy in this one. I also feel it in this one. And the funny thing is this was months ago. So like to think that I can remember these and what I was feeling behind them is really interesting. Um this one was really interesting too because it felt like I had tamed everything from the last two pieces whereas I started to really feel all of that emotion. It started to become something softer, something gentler. And again, I was in New York City when I did this and I was at the park and I calmed down. Another one, uh, quite energetic, very random. I think something that was really important to me about this sketchbook again was that nobody was going to see it. So I was like, it didn't matter what it looked like. And from that, I actually made a lot of discoveries about some things that I liked doing in the work. This one's weird. This another one from my New York City trip. Uh, I don't know what it is, but again, the weird spheres coming up, and it feels like somewhat unfinished, to be honest. But um, at the time, this little smudge here, a bug died on the page, so I don't know if that's part of it or not. These were really interesting because I was just drawing with line and like energy, and I have another piece actually. Let me find my sketchbook. So this sort of look comes up kind of frequently. Um, I had another one. This one was somewhat recent. I don't know if you guys can see it very well. I'm just scribbling and like a whole little world kind of comes out of it. So this one was somewhat recent. This one was one of my first attempts with that. It was quite interesting actually. Thank you, Laura. Laura almost fabric twirling ribbons. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, Gav, I'm just seeing your question. Has this changed the way you view previous pieces or artistic processes? So short answer is yes. I think the biggest thing that it's changed is that when I was drawing before, there was a lot of tension and I didn't recognize that there was. So there was this feeling of I would hold the pen very tightly, my body would get really tight, and I would like brace myself. It was like I had to brace myself before I could put the pen down. And then the entire process of painting was like this very tense experience. And so now, and I've been practicing this with my portraits too, because I don't want to feel that tension while I work. So, what I've been practicing is the way that I work with the abstract illustrations. Now I pull that into my portraiture. So it's much looser and it isn't quite as precise, but it's really helped me kind of loosen and feel good throughout the process. Because like emotionally I might have been okay while I was, working on like my paintings and my portraits and stuff, but there was definitely a point where like in my body it was not well, and that was manifesting a lot of like physical ailments and struggles. So that's something I've definitely taken into my process when it comes to my illustrations and my portraits. Um, this one felt like, and again, to me, I see like this person facing away, and I see like their brain being exposed. In hindsight, this one feels like the abstract work was meant for me to dig into my own brain. I really think that's what it was. So this piece, I remember making this one and being so proud of it. Like there was something about this that felt like what I needed to capture, what I wanted to capture, even though going into it, I had no idea what it was going to look like. It just came out like this on the page. Um, and I think at the time, let me see some other ones that I had done. This was another one that I had done at the time that, again, it really felt like it was an accumulation of like what had come through so far. So this like mass of like tangles and then this sort of like depth behind it. And I was experimenting with the silver. I don't know if you guys can see that. I was experimenting with the silver on this one. Metallic what would I call them? I guess like accents were something that started to come through in the work at this time too. Um, so yeah, this was around the same time. This one really struck something in me. Like was it felt like I had uncovered something. Yeah, I think that was around the same time. I was also, here's another one where the metallics came through. So I was experimenting now with the ink and then the metallics. You can see there's some gold there. This was another abstract one I did. This was actually the first one that I did outside of the sketchbook. It felt like I needed to experiment with making a finished piece, like a whole piece. And so I decided I'm going to do it on a separate sheet of paper and I'm going to perform, right? So this was like a performance of what I had developed in these first few pieces. And I really love this one. I think this one also speaks to me because I mean, it was a snake, and most of you know I love snakes. Um, but it felt like everything that I wanted to capture in my abstract work at the time. And so I really fell in love with this one. I actually hung this one. This sounds so goofy. I actually hung this one on my fridge for months. Um, because I was so proud of it. I was like, that's my work. And the funny thing is that as much as I painted, and I've been, a portrait illustrator for 10 years, as much as I've painted, I don't think I've ever hung my own work anywhere in my apartment, in my home. And this I hung on my fridge and it kind of felt like rewarding like the child in me, you know? Um and even though like I don't think there's anything particularly skillful about this, but it really meant a lot to me. And yeah, this one's really close to my heart. Looks like a postcard you'd buy at a museum. I love it. Oh, I love that. They're like looking at clouds. Love the snake. Thank you. I want to ask, would you get tense again once you start to draw in a serious mode again? So, Eden, two things. Now I take my abstract work very seriously anyway, so it feels very serious. When it comes to my other work, so my um, portraiture, my splash pieces, when it comes to this stuff, I I feel like I'm much more aware of when that happens. So like if things feel tense, I'm much more able to spot it and then take a breath and kind of ground myself. That's something I wasn't able to do before and I think that's what caused a lot of the struggle and a lot of the art block. So now I think it's not so much about never ever feeling tense again or getting like, too serious with things, which is like a whole other thing I've been working on. But I think it's more about the awareness of when that happens so that I can then do what I know how to do at this point, um, and recenter myself and come back to how am I feeling. Um, yeah. Also, I want to pause. I want to actually pause on the discussion because I think an ad is about to start and I don't want to cut any of you off. So let's pause for a sec. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to grab some water. I will be right back after the ad. And actually, let me see how close we are to the ad. I don't know. It says here it's got a few minutes. How about this? We'll keep going, and then when the bot lets us know when the ad starts, then I'll pause and take a break. Yeah, these I did these quite a few years ago. I mean, I have bunches of these, but um yeah, I think I'm just more aware. I'm more aware of how I'm feeling, which I think was the most important element. It was the biggest thing I needed to discover. Um but yeah, so again, weird that like it was always weird to me that like there was some animal elements. Like this one to me feels like a butterfly. Um and definitely at this point I'm starting to feel more confident in how things are evolving. Let me see if I have any others that are similar. I also started working on really big paper around this time. I don't have any of those. I don't have any of those here next to me because they're absolutely massive pieces of paper. But um, yeah, the confidence is coming through. Uh, this one is funny because I was sat on the couch and I was just in a mood, and I was like, I don't want to draw. I was having those moments of like go draw. You know you want to draw. My brain was like, man, I don't wanna. And so I'm sitting on the couch with the sketchbook, and across the room I see my roller skate, and I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna force myself to do something, I'm just gonna draw something I know I really like. So I just drew my roller skate. I don't even think I like picked up the pen. I just was like, it was like it, feverish sketching. And when I was done, I was like, I love this piece. It was so funny. It was like a battle with my brain, and then when I was done, I was like, "Oh, actually, that felt good." Um, Nothing special, just a roller skate, and yeah, I was really happy with this one. More spheres, weird shell-like spheres in this one. Um, Again, I was playing around a lot with hatching and like what would happen if I hatched in different directions and what kind of feeling it would give. I loved how it really made, these like shell-like shapes pop off the page.
Lemon.
Thank you guys for the follows, by the way. Laura, Hyro, Adam, I appreciate you guys. How are you doing today? I'm going over all of this, like this abstract journey that I went on. Um, I don't know if we'll get through like a lot of it, but we'll see. This is only like a few pages into the into the first sketchbook, just for context. That's how far in we are. Um, yeah, feeling some energy again as I work through these ones. Oh, the next one's really fun. A lot of energy, a lot of freedom. I was really just playing with these squigglies again and like what would happen if I incorporated those. I didn't make a lot of pieces like this later on. Okay, this one was weird. The fact that it looks the way that it does, and when I tell you, like, I had no idea what it was going to be before I drew it, it seems crazy because it looks like a bunny with massive teeth, like an alien bunny with massive teeth. And when I was done, I was like, what the hell just came out of my brain? Yeah, like I remember finishing this and being like, whoa. This is an odd one. And again, another like hint at an animal theme, but you can see a lot of the influence of those earlier emotional pieces came out in this one. Like we have the eyes, we've got like these weird shapes, the teeth I feel like are really freaky, and it was like a combination of everything I'd done up to this point. And you can also see my lines start to get more confident. I'm not like, scribbling. It's more like all these lines were like just one go, you know? So it was really cool to see this one come out, even though it was trippy as hell. I was looking at it like, what's wrong with me on this day? But it was really interesting. Um, and so yeah, that this was another piece where I was like, something has changed here. Something is evolving. And I remember, I think right around this point was when things started to really flow. I would wake up every day and have my cup of tea and breakfast and draw. Like that was the first thing I would do. And if I didn't do that, I would be very grumpy for most of the day. Let me see if there's anything else around that time. I feel like that one was a bit later. I don't think I have any others that were around that time. Bunny needs a D&D monster stat block, right? Yeah, so this one's odd. This one's very weird. I think again I was experimenting with like I was like creating form or like what would it be like if I added, a roundness to some of those curves, and to me this looks like a weird melting like wax face. Um, this one was weird. Okay, so I drew this. It looks like grapes to me. But then I had the urge to just like write something here, and I wrote, "Lost are the grapes in the mouth of the one who cannot taste sweetness, and yet he fights for flavor when instead he could suckle cayenne." Like, what the hell? And I want to emphasize I was completely sober while doing this, but like what a weird thing. Um, I don't know. I noticed the ad just came up too. I'm gonna pause here. And I'm gonna go get a glass of water. Um, yeah. Anyway, I'll be right back, you guys. Hello. How we doing? I had a snack, got some water. Looks like the ad's over. So, let's talk about this again. Because I feel like this page didn't get the recognition that it needed. So, yeah, drew some grapes. As you can see, obviously, lots of spheres, as grapes are. But this little, like, quote thing here, I don't know what it means. So, chat, I'm going to read it again, and I'm curious what y'all's interpretation of it is. And I think the ad break's over, so hopefully y'all can still hear me. Okay, so I'll read it again. Lost are the grapes in the mouth of one who cannot taste sweetness, and yet he fights for flavor when instead he could suckle cayenne. What does this mean, chat? Because this came from my brain, but I have no idea. Mugen, thank you for the follow. Can kind of get it. I think it is kind of sad. I feel like my interpretation of it is like someone who can't taste, I don't know, taste this flavor, but he has all, he, she, whatever, has all of these abilities to taste other things, and yet this is the thing they think they want. But what if that is the only thing that's keeping them unhappy? Is the fact that they want something that they can't have when they could have the thing they could have. To me, I think it speaks of choice. Um I don't know. I feel like it's yeah, looking for sweetness in all the wrong places when there's sweetness right in front of them. Yeah. Yeah. Weird. And again, it was one of those things that like no thought behind my brain. It was just words that came out. And in hindsight, again, this is like the interesting part is that at the time, I think maybe this would have described what I was feeling, where it was like my work had to be a certain way, but it didn't. That was a choice. Um, so interesting. I mean, it's so interesting to look back on because I haven't looked at any of this stuff in months. Now, why the available sweetness is cayenne pepper is beyond me, but I like cayenne, so I'm not complaining. I think it's like it's saying that they want to taste something sweet, but they're unable, and yet they could just have spicy and be perfectly content, but they've chosen to chase the thing they can't have or can't taste. Lost are the things you use in an attempt to change the unchangeable. If you seek happiness, pursue the things that are attainable. Oh, Angela, that's good. That's good. I think I think maybe that's what it's saying. My weird subconscious brain was trying to tell me something deep there. I think it was. Hang on a sec. I want to write it down. Because I feel like that's a great interpretation. All right, so moving on. Interesting page. I don't know, it was a weird one, but ah, there was moments where like I would have these thoughts and I would write them down. This one says, "I feel wasteful. I'm doing nothing." This was a thought that haunted me for a very long time. We're halfway through this and I'm still like wasting time. It took me a long time to navigate that feeling. So this one is interesting because it feels like another like weird portrait. As you can see, we have pointy ears. Um, the good stuff coming out as usual. But I really liked this one. This one actually, I think, inspired me to incorporate what I was doing with the abstract stuff into portraiture. It kind of showed me what was possible without having to um, feel the tension that I was feeling with some of my main work. This one was another one that like changed my perspective on things because one, I started experimenting with color and I was playing around with do you guys remember those crayons that they weren't like they weren't like a normal stick. They were like the twist ones and then they would, would kind of like the tip would come out like a pen and they were like smelly, like they had smells. That's what I used on this. I like went back to my childhood and was like, I remember these. I'm going to use these. And one, I really liked the drawing that came out of this, but I also felt like I had let a part of me come back in the exploration of this piece. And to me, it looked like jellyfish, so I thought it was really cool. But again, our spheres, like, they show up quite a bit. This one, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on here. I think I was experimenting with a different pen, but it feels kind of, I don't know how to describe it. How would you guys describe this one? And this is always like this is always the story with abstract stuff. Like, what is it? Hi, entity. So, I'm actually going through like the beginnings of my abstract work. I have sketchbooks and sketchbooks full of stuff. I have piles of art. Um, and basically, I started working on this one today and then wanted to share some of the older stuff here. So I'm kind of talking about my journey through the abstract work and also a lot of the things I've learned and struggled with and what the abstract work helped me navigate when it came to my art block. Oh, a Spartan helmet? Okay, I can see it. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Reconstructed knight standing at attention. Ooh, I love that. Interesting you guys are seeing something kind of similar. I feel like at the time of this one, I was also, I'm not even sure what my medium was for some of this gold and the yellow. Like I really, I have no idea what I used to make this. Reminds me of those abstract statues you'd see in public. Ooh, interesting. Oh, this page was fun. Um, so I was playing around with a different approach to something here. Like I think I was playing with like a floral pattern and then somehow the beans happened. So like they started in here and then I just kept going. And then I wrote here the little lima bean and I drew faces on them. I was trying to have more fun. Um, and there was so many times, I mean, throughout my illustration work where I was like, I had to be serious. I was like, no, can't have fun, can't do goofy stuff. And sometimes I did. Like, those of you who've been with me through my streams for many years, you know that there's moments where like I put googly eyes on my work and um was just like goofy with it. But it felt like as time went on, it was like less and less and less of that. And it felt like it was like sucking the joy out of creation. And so doing something like this was so fun because it was a reminder of like, no, so just be the idiot that you are. Like, have fun with it. Um, and the lima beans came out of it. Socks in the laundry pile, looking at me judgmentally. This was another fun one. Came out to be another jellyfish. I think jellyfish was just on my mind. I don't know why. But it kept showing up in my work as well. This is another weird one. No idea what it is. The black background felt really intense, but there was something in my mind that was like, you need to do that. You need to put that intense background and then focus on bringing out some of the designs. And you'll see this more, like this is another piece. Um, a lot of times I'll experiment with what it might look like in the sketchbook, and then like this one I did an individual piece. with it. As you can see, spheres came to play, but also we have some of the gold embellishments, which showed up a lot. Um, yeah. But yeah, it does kind of look like a human heart, right? This one, I think I made later on, but it's so similar that I wanted to share that. I don't know what I was doing here. Ah, this one's interesting. I wrote more notes. I wrote, it's too easy for things to get in the way. I felt I needed to do other things, or my mind was actively distracting me. I'm trying to control the outcome and get straight lines. It's hard to relax. I have to consistently tell myself to let it be. This was powerful. I think this was when I really started to recognize like the discomfort and the need to control it. Like that was a huge issue for me. Um, this looks familiar, doesn't it? Wait, hold on. We recently did a piece that looks a lot like this one. Um, what's going on here, brain? What's going on here, brain? You picking up on old drawings, brain? Hmm? Hmm? Yeah, I did this one this week, and to be honest, it looks really similar to this guy. That is so interesting to me. Again, like kind of weird alien like vibes. I don't know, but it really carried across in this one as well. This one feels a bit more like alien plant. This one feels a bit more like alien worm. That's so interesting. I totally forgot about that. Almost like a foreign piece of produce, one on the stalk, one other plucked. Yeah, so interesting. Okay, so we got a radish. To me, it looks like a radish. I don't know if you guys see anything different. I remember at the time I really didn't like this one, and I ended up coming back to it later on and was like, no, actually, I do. And I came back and I did a little bit more work on it, and then ended up letting it be. Um, just another random one. But again, more like plant themes. This one, I think I was having a rough day. Like I didn't know. I remember doing the drawing and then being like, I hate it. Like just the lines. And then I was like, whatever, I don't care. So I started filling it in. This was something I think I did as a kid where like we would just draw lots of lines and then we would fill in all the blocks opposite of each other. Um, and then I felt better afterwards. I remember again, this was another really emotional one, but I felt better when it was done. This one immediately speaks to me. What I do when my hand needs to do something while my mind fizzles. Yeah, like my mind was on fire that day. So as you can see, I took something out of this one, and I don't remember exactly what it was. I feel like I had done. I want to say like, oh no, that's not the same one. Let me see if I can find it. Hang on. I feel like around this time, I was starting to see much more of the floral elements. The spheres were like the core of the flower, and then like the flower or the plant, whatever it is, would grow up and out of that. So this one was another one where I really felt like something had come from it that felt like me. Like this felt like something I wanted to express. When I looked at it, it was very pleasing. This was another one that went up on the fridge. I had them all on the fridge for a long while. I ended up moving them into my office and I hung them all up. I had this massive whiteboard. I had them all up on my whiteboard. And every time I would create a new one that I really liked, it would go on the whiteboard. And it was a reminder of like this journey that I'd been on. So this was another one. And there's a lot of pieces that come out looking similar to this one. Um, this was one that really spoke to me. Like it still speaks to me. When I look at it, I feel something. Um, it makes me very happy now when I look at it because I feel a lot of pride. for this work. And that's not something that I feel that I could have described as a feeling back then while I was working on them, because it was so much like, what am I doing? Why am I going through this? Like, um I think another emotional day here. I think at this time I was thinking about portraiture, but I was still so frustrated with my work. And it wasn't that like I couldn't draw my portraits, because I could. I would sit down and I would draw it. But there was like something so weighted behind it that I fought with it every time. Like I fought with it every time I sat down to do my portraits, every time I sat down to do my character illustrations. Like I was fighting it, and I you can see it in this, because I'm just like, that's not it. That's not it. Let's see. Yeah, so here I was reading my notes here. So these are so rough, like so, and I did these without reference, and I was just like very quick. And I wrote here, it's still hard to let go of it looking right, but I have to build up this way of drawing when I'm not tense. It will improve the more you loosen up. And I start talking to myself like in second person. Weird. It will improve the more you loosen up and get used to drawing in this looser way. It's a lot of muscle memory. Um, it was like it was like encouragement um for myself at the time. And again, like when I wrote some of these things, like I wasn't thinking, I was just like automatically writing. Um this one was interesting. So I remember drawing this and being and feeling like, okay, there's something in this that I really enjoyed. But I wrote here that I wanted to draw people like in person. I want to draw others live, but I'm nervous of doing it badly. Like I wanted to like sit face to face with someone and draw them. And like you know how when you draw someone's likeness there's like that pressure of like, oh, you have to get it 100% right, otherwise they're going to be like, ooh, that's not what I look like. But then I was like, no, I like there can't be fear behind that. Like that's something that really calls to me, and it's still something that calls to me. I haven't done it yet, but yeah. I wrote here, which is so interesting. I really have been drawing wrong this whole time. Even in writing, there's so much tension. Let it go. Insane. Oh. Okay, so I think one morning I was like, no idea what to draw. I was like scribbling my teapot. And I wrote, I think like literally I was mindlessly scribbling, and I wrote, no, go slow and pay attention. Not me chastising myself. Oh my God. Girl, just draw them like one of your elf girls. I know. And that's the thing. Like, that's the thing with art. And I think there's a lot of people that look at professional artists and they think they've got it all figured out. They don't ever struggle. And maybe some don't. I don't know. But I think it's a very real experience for someone who's been doing something for a long time to pause for a moment and be like, what the hell am I doing? Like, and the question that came up for me was like, am I happy? Like if I was happy, I think it would be a lot easier to sit down and do this stuff. And I don't think it was ever the question of am I happy with drawing my characters? Like I don't think that was ever a question. I think it was am I happy with my approach to drawing? And that's where it came back to all of these questions of like assessing how I was feeling physically, asking all these questions as I went through the creative process. And it was never about the subject, it was always about the approach and all of these rules that I created for myself. They weren't actual rules that I had to follow, it's just rules that I created. So very interesting. But here, this one was fun. I don't think I've made I made a couple pieces like this in the sketchbook, but I don't think I've done any like more exploring of this. But this was basically me just throwing down some of the gold paint that I had and then drawing what I saw from it. So the lines came after in this one. I will say this one was very important in like the production of some of my other pieces where I start with color first and then I add the lines. But this was really relaxing. I really enjoyed these. I was scribbling my kitchen. This was one morning. This was like what my setup was. It was like I just had all this crap on the island with me, and I was just drawing. The island at the time, it less so now, but the island in the kitchen at the time was like where I did all of this meditative work. So a lot of what you see here, I drew it at my kitchen island. I didn't even step foot in my office. Like I would even take my laptop out there to work because for some reason the office was like repelling me. So this was one morning where just a ton of stuff on the island and I just went to town. This one looks like blueberries to me. I don't know, just these little guys here again with the spheres, more abstract. Um I was really oh my dried flowers. Well, hang on. It's kind of a mess, but let me move these flowers off. I don't know if they'll unstick. Well, we'll keep them there. Anyway, I'm gonna read your message, Gev. Hang on. Something about the self notes hits really close to home regarding the duality of expectation. The purpose is to create something lax, but it's not without expectation. And even though you're conscious of that, it starts to crumble in on itself during the bad days. The notes are too similar to my own thoughts at times. Gav, I think listening to the what those thoughts are trying to tell you is really important. And when it came to the abstract work, it pulled all those thoughts forward. I have so many notes on this stuff, both in my sketchbook and also in my journals. And I think getting to the bottom of it isn't even so much about like knowing what those ramblings mean, but rather like looking back on it and then understanding the message it's trying to send you. And for me, a lot of the realizations you mentioned, like they kind of crumble in on themselves during bad days. A lot of the messages felt like they made my the beliefs that I had about the work that I was creating also crumble. It was like, well, that's a silly belief, or that's a really mean thing to say to myself. Why am I doing that? And so that was really it was really helpful for me to write those things down and especially to go back and look at them. And I haven't looked at these in a while, but now, like with a new perspective, going back and looking at them, I'm like, wow, that's really deep. And also, I know exactly what it was saying to me at the time, but I couldn't see it at the time. But anyway, this one was super interesting because to me, I drew this falcon, and a falcon was something I'd been seeing a lot of at the time. So this was another like automatic, didn't know it was coming from it, very abstract. And out came a falcon. And so when I drew this, it was a really emotional time because the falcon was this symbol of I'm on the right path. So seeing this, I was like, I know I'm going where I'm supposed to be going. Um, Oh wow. Okay, this is interesting. I wrote a little note here. This I didn't finish this, but there was something about this piece that really, I don't know, it spoke to me in an uncomfortable kind of way. Like to me there's like an alien sort of shape here again. And I don't know if that has any relationship to what I wrote, but I wrote fear with eyes closed. I don't know what that means, but in hindsight now, it kind of is like I felt like I didn't like I was afraid of things in the world, but I wasn't seeing them as they were. It was like I was afraid of the mystery of things. And then I wrote no trust in self. And then in caps, I wrote trust yourself because you always provide and protect. That felt like a really powerful message at the time. Oh, more flowers. Oh, this was a beautiful day. Okay, so I know that it looks like nothing but squiggles, but when I was done, I had this immense feeling of peace and like I'd found something. And literally, I just wrote, I am art. Like, and of course, like, I think it's funny that I dried flowers on this page as well because this was just a day. Even looking at this, again. It's just scribbles, but it's kind of like making me really emotional because when I wrote that, I had more confidence in my work than I'd had in years. And it just, again, it felt like something broke through. It felt like I'd made some realizations here. And without having to say anything except I am art. Like how confident can you be to just say that the art is me? Like, hi Lucky, good to see you. Here's another one. I used the silver paint on this one, and again, just did another abstract piece. I thought this one was really fun because it reminded me of a unicorn and like a fairy, like casting a spell here. I really enjoyed this one. The opposite of self note coin, I feel. Freedom. Yeah, yeah, it felt like that. Again, same thing. Splash some of that metallic paint and then just drew on top of it. This one reminded me, I don't know if you guys have ever played Final Fantasy X, but this one reminded me of the ruins of Xanarkand, where like at the surface of the water, you would just see like some of the ruins, but it didn't feel as grand. And then when you went under the water, it was like this intense, like sunken city. That's what this one reminded me of. Another weird one. It's like a bug helmet. I don't know. This one with like the eyes on this one really like super goofy, super weird. But I did this one really fast. I want to say this was like a 5 second drawing while I was at the coffee shop. And I was like, huh, that's weird. And then I moved on. I didn't spend a lot of time on it. But I asked my friend what she saw, and she did not see the same thing. Something had shifted with this one as well. And you guys probably see some of the influences in my current piece where I'm really starting to go in with the intense contrast. But this one felt good too. This one feels a bit like the like yin and yang kind of vibe. Where like I have like the split and it almost feels like a mirror, kind of like a mirror reflection. This one feels like this one reminded me of like a dying plant in a pot. Um, Not too much to say. I feel like I was kind of going through the motions here in the sense that I was just putting some work out there, exploring, seeing what came out of it. Um, I don't remember much on this day, to be honest. Hi, John. First time here, like the vibe going, instant subscribe. Thank you so much. How are you? I'm going through a lot of my early abstract pieces and talking about, some of the things that I was going through with my abstract work, some of the notes that I took, some of the stuff that in hindsight, when I look back, it's like I recognize the meaning, whereas at the time I didn't so much. Um, oh, this page was when I got my acrylic pens, and so I was just playing with. I was doing a swatch of the colors. I even put some gold on here too. That's interesting. I think I was preparing for a larger piece. Actually, hold on. Let me see if I can get the larger canvas. This is how big. It's like half as tall as I am. This is how big I started working at this point. And these were these were like very, I don't know, it was like I wanted something that was bigger and took me a long time because I didn't want to stop. So this was one, but then I started incorporating color. And this, hold on, this is where I started to like, I don't know if you guys can hear me, hang on. This is where I started to really experiment with the color and the shapes. And it was just, they were massive pieces. Like these are really huge. And I don't have a ton of them in here, but there was something about working on these where I would sit on the floor on a yoga mat and I would just use my entire body to paint and draw, and it felt like something was like taking over. I was like it was like moving through me, and something about like the whole body physical experience was invigorating. It was great. And this all started after I got my colors. This is another one, but I didn't finish this one. So it's like this gold stripe down the center. And then I was adding some of the gold accents, but again, it had that really floral feeling to it. Yoga painting. Yeah. Hi, Yulo. And then, oh, this one's removed. Hang on. So this was one that I I had started actually I was experimenting a lot before I show um that one. I want to show one other one. So I'd started experimenting a bit on like a smaller scale with what would happen with these particular shapes. I did like a whole series of these ones. What would happen with those particular shapes? And this was the first one I did, and I was like, I need more. And I remember doing this and being like, this speaks to me on a level that, again, my soul is just singing when I see this. And so this was the first one, and it gave it gave birth to all of these. So I was just experimenting with different shapes and using colors. And in this one, I even played around with adding like this white translucent paint to make it look almost like a blorb, like a yeah, the transparent element was like oh, and I did that on accident, and then I was like, I'm doing it again. So I did this intentional piece. The funny thing was, this was the one right here where I realized, oh, hey, if I don't line it, it looks kind of fuzzy. And then I was like, what if I add the paint on top and actually give it that like fuzziness? And it was magic. It was like discovering this actually made me realize that I I didn't need a tutorial. I didn't need someone to tell me how to do it. I just needed to make mistakes and experiment and play to figure out a really cool effect. And so that's what like that came from this piece where I had forgotten to color or to line this one, and I was like, "Hey, that actually looks pretty cool. Let me try something." Um, hold on, let me try something. And so I did, and now I'm also like of the same mind with all of my work, where it's like, what if I just try doing something that I haven't done before, and what's going to come out of that? And it's been really insanely enjoyable to make these discoveries on my own. John says, to be honest, your work will be an inspiration to me. I do convert visuals and I draw the abstracts myself, so finding new motivation will inspire me a lot. Oh, I love to hear it. I hope that by sharing my story, it helps somebody. Um, because I think, for a really big portion of doing this, I had this idea of like, I'm wasting my time. What am I doing? This and that. But like, I will never go back. Like, I'm so glad that I did all of this. And I love every single piece. And the ideas, I think I had a lot of beliefs about what art had to be, which is, a very insidious thought and idea because of the things I teach. Like, I think anybody can make art and I think anything can be art. But I didn't realize how I had internalized, the beliefs that I had about like what my work I felt had to be in order to be successful. Um, and at some point, I will be selling a lot of this stuff. If you guys are interested